Hey friend, by now you must have graduated from only providing answers to surface-level questions in your comprehension tasks. At this level, you're required to read between the lines and provide answers that might not have been directly stated in the text. In this lesson, we'll uncover hidden messages in a text to gain a deeper understanding. We'll study an interview transcript to discover how words and expressions reveal implied meanings.
Let's start with a broad question. What are some of the major challenges African governments face in their administrative process?
Well, Jessica, one of the prevalent challenges that African governments grapple with is ensuring an equitable distribution of resources. It's crucial for them to bridge the gap between urban centers and rural areas.
Interesting. How do you think governments can address this issue effectively?
You see, governments need to adopt a more inclusive approach to policy making and resource allocation. They should prioritize the needs of rural communities and engage them actively in decision-making processes.
I see. Moving on to transparency and accountability in governance, how would you assess the situation in African administrations?
Transparency and accountability remain a work in progress for many African governments. There are efforts to enhance transparency, but it's essential to strengthen institutions and ensure that they have teeth to hold officials accountable.
That's a critical point. Now, some critics argue that corruption is a significant obstacle to effective governance in Africa. What are your thoughts on this?
Corruption is undoubtedly a pressing issue that hampers governance in many African countries. Tackling corruption requires a comprehensive approach encompassing not only legal measures, but also promoting culture of ethics and integrity.
Absolutely. Moving towards public engagement, what role do you think citizens play in shaping government policies?
Well, citizen engagement is paramount in the policy-making process. Governments should actively involve citizens in consultations and seek their feedback to ensure policies are inclusive and reflective of the people's needs.
Now to the fun part. For every question asked, you can pause the video or go back to the appropriate section of the text to create your answer. Ready? Question 1. According to Dr. Kwame's response, what does the expression "bridge the gap" suggest? It communicates that there's a significant disparity between urban and rural communities in terms of resources and development. Question 2. Dr. Kwame suggested that governments need to adopt a more inclusive approach to policy making and resource allocation. What does this imply about the current policy making strategy? The phrase "inclusive approach" implies that the current approach may be exclusive and not adequately consider the interest of rural communities. Let's answer one more question. In your own words, explain the efficacy of the current approach of the international community in supporting African governments. According to the text, the current approach appears to be a set of imposing solutions which might not fully consider the uniqueness and complexities of African governance. How did you do? These implied meanings are deduced from the interviewee's responses, where certain words and expressions provide clues to deeper understanding beyond literal interpretations. It is essential to read between the lines and consider the context to uncover these implied meanings effectively. Keep practicing.